Hello, welcome everyone. Happy to see some names already. We are going to give 2 extra minutes for everyone to join in, so please bear with us while we wait. Thank you. Okay, for new people joining in, it's not like we are in awkward silence. We are just giving an extra minute for everyone to join in. 2 minutes past 5 local time, we are going to get started. Okay, let's do it. Now, welcome everyone. We are so excited to have these great 3 minds come together to speak about this trending topic, tech and AI-powered B2B marketing. So if you haven't seen their beautiful faces and beautiful smiles, I'll give you a quick presentation. First up, we have Henrik, a visionary entrepreneur and one of Pickit's founders. He will be sharing insights on how smart tools can strengthen your brand. Next, we have Helena from Microsoft. She's an experienced business manager with a strong background in enterprise software, SaaS, and go-to-market strategy. And finally, we have Robin. He's a CMO at HiQ, and he's a seasoned marketing leader with an extensive experience in scaling B2B SaaS companies and driving innovation in tech. And hello, this is Marina, marketing manager here at Pickit, and I will be the host for today's webinar. We have prepared a short and sweet agenda just for you to understand what we will be talking about. Henrik, he will be covering content and how you can streamline it. Helena will be talking about AI and branding, and Robin, he's going to be talking about tech stack decisions and the brand impact. We have just very short housekeeping rules. If you have any question, we will be more than happy to answer it. You can use the chat button that's at the bottom of the screen, and we will cover them. We will cover the questions at the end of the session. The webinar is recorded, so you don't need to take any notes, and you will receive the recording afterwards. And if you have any tech issues, please try refreshing or reconnecting. I'm sure that might be the trick. And if not, just pick me. I'll try to help you as soon as possible. Now, before we dive into this topic, we would love to hear from you. We have a quick poll to get your thoughts on AI. I'll put it on the screen so you can just answer it the best you want, and we can get started afterwards. So just give me 1 second. Launch, and I'm hoping you can see the question on the screen. Is that right, Henrik? Can you see it?
I see it perfectly.
Perfect.
But I can't answer since I'm one of the panel.
Yes, that's no problem. I'll just need people to answer it. I'll share the answers as soon as possible. 15 more seconds and I'll reveal it. It's interesting though to already see how many AI tools people are using nowadays with the new AI wave coming all the way. Interesting. Okay. Share results. Now you should be able to see it on the screen.
A very mature AI audience?
Interesting. Between the majority of the people are using between 1 to 3 AI tools. Then we have in the second place people who are using more than 6 AI tools. I would want to know which one are those. And lastly, we have people using between 3 to 6 AI tools. Interesting.
Yes. Do you want me to close this one? Oh, you can do that. Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Okay then. So it's me up talking about streamline your content. And like you said, Marina, I'm actually one of Marina's colleagues. So I represent Pickit today and tomorrow as well. And why do we talk about streamline your content? Well, there's what we can see from our perspective. The why here are two main reasons, if you ask me. One is because everyone around you, people that are not familiar with the brand or how to work with design or layout, will get powerful tools in their hands pretty soon if they haven't got it already. And imagine what could happen when everyone is starting to create a lot of assets, a lot of communication material, whatever it might be, without knowing exactly what it is aligning with your brand or what is important in terms of tonality, personality, and so on. The other reason why you should streamline your content is that the power in your competition and your competitors around you will increase the power of being that noise that you need to go and break through. And that's also why you need to streamline your content in order to be able to compete. When we talk about what, I will talk about 6 pillars. I will come back to that. And how? Well, I will showcase a customer setup. And you can hang me after this, Robin, but I took HiQ as an example. I actually went in and took one of your videos. Sorry for that, but I will showcase what you have done with Pickit, because I think you've done a very, very good job, and I think everyone should learn from that, of course. So this is what I will do today. I will start by talking a little bit about the first thing, and that's distinctiveness, of course. You need to have, I guess, and I don't know so much, but I guess you've been working a lot with your brand in terms of how do we cut through the noise? What's our positioning? What's our brand tonality, personality? Most of all, maybe working with the brand equity. How do we make people value our brand? How do we make them loyal to us? How do we create this trust between our target groups and our brand? That's, of course, the distinctiveness. And this is a place where you need to really do the right type of work. Next part is actually about execution. And here's where these 6 pillars will come in. And speaking about the first one, the first pillar is about making sure that the access to everything that you have is effortless, that you can put content at everyone's fingertips without any kind of hurdles or gateways that you need to go through. So you need to be native as much as you possibly can in order to streamline your content. I know, and I heard that Robin is saying that he's democratizing brand creation or the brand. And you need to be a leader. You need to be able to inspire and lead. And how can you do that? Well, I will show you, or the showcase that we have is about being very visual, make the navigation easy when you talk about content, make sure that you can inspire by curation, making sure that you curate the content that is relevant for each and every user group. Third pillar is about trust and alignment. It's about having one place for everything that you possibly need in terms of content, not having separate places where you need to go. And you need to to trust that place as a user with knowing that this is the latest and the approved content that I'm supposed to use. So it's just by acting as we humans are, like really keep that into one place. The fourth pillar is about scalable creativity, and the warning that I said around the why. You need to put tools, content, templates, pre-built assets in the hands of people that doesn't really know how to make a great design, or that is not a good person at writing texts or whatever. You have to have user-friendly tools for them because they are going to create content. Fifth, control and compliance, ensuring brand consistency. You need to be able to guide people, not only put the content at their fingertips. You have to have guidance. You need to explain why, and you need to be able to explain why at the right moment when they need that information. And lastly, insights optimization. You need to be able to monitor, validate, and measure brand and content performance. So bear with me, and sorry, Robin, I took your video. I cut it down a little bit just to showcase what you are doing in Pickit in terms of streamlining your content. Here we go.
Hi everyone, Robin Askelöf here, CMO at HiQ. So, what are we dealing with here? Well, let's start by clicking on the icon and this pops up. And the first thing you need to know is that our brand hub, which is powered by Pickit, and we'll start with documents, because here's where you'll find the templates. Let's begin by opening up our new PowerPoint template in here. Let's open up the public one. Okay. Now we have a presentation open, and while we're in this part of Pickit, let's take a look at the presentations folder in here. Let's use this sales deck as an example. And here you have a really good functionality. The great thing is that you can click on the presentation and then click further to bring up all the slides. And then it just takes one click to insert whatever slide you want in your presentation, and it appears over here. Really nice. Okay, let's go over to this part, the media bank, where you have a lot of folders here. Here you actually find illustrations, icons, but also Teams backgrounds and LinkedIn headers, etc. Okay, finally, a few words about this one, brand. If you click here, you go to the web version of the brand hub. And here you actually find even more, such as the strategy, the tonality, guidelines, etc. Everything is done with single sign-on, so only those at HiQ can access the material, as well as those we invite to have access. Here you have strategy, you have the graphic guidelines, and you get all the downloads here as well.
Thank you, Robin, for that presentation. And I hope you understand that I cut it down. It's a lot of information in between as well, but I just wanted to compress this into showcasing what you actually can do. This is one channel, this is one use case. This is a productivity tool that everyone is very much aware of, PowerPoint, but you can of course streamline your content into other channels, other tools, not only PowerPoint as we saw here. So just to finally repeat what I said, the 6 pillars for streamlining your content is: number 1, effortless access. Make sure that everyone gets the content at their fingertips. Lead and inspire. I think, Robin, you're a perfect example of that. Talk to your audience, make sure it's visual, curate. Trust and alignment, number 3. One place for everything. Number 4, scalable creativity. Make sure that you have user-friendly tools, not complex tools. Control and compliance, make sure that they get the guidance that they need when they need it. And of course, insights and optimizations all the time, I guess. And also be aware of that you might need to, in an agile perspective, change things in your brand quickly as well. And that's also good. Also a reason why you should streamline your content. I'll stop here. And I know you have another pull. I think, Marina.
That's right. Let's launch the poll. What do you expect AI to help you with? After the AI train that is going fast and furious, I know a lot of people might have different expectations about what it can do. So if you can just type a short answer, we are going to be able to see, different needs, different use cases. There is no right and wrong, just for the record. Okay, I already started sharing some results. Don't worry if you haven't had the time to answer it. Just Helena, Henrik, and Robin, and myself were curious to hear more about your expectations. Share results. Can you see the results on the screen?
No. Only the question.
Okay, I can see them, so I'm gonna read them out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a person saying copywriting, another person saying email, someone else is saying transcribing voice to text, improve my productivity, problem solving, analysis, reporting, reviewing, and provide best image options. Oh, there is more. Texting for social media posts, video photo editing, clear messaging without unnecessary fluff, automate and validate, content creation, and there is a lot more. But I think we already get some of the information we wanted. Thank you so much. I think, Helena, you're next.
Yes, can we go to the next slide, Henrik, please? So thank you. Awesome answers. Thank you all for being transparent, what you think of, the future that is already here. And what you might not know is that you all will be part of creating that. That's also part of what's going to happen in a very, very near future. So if you didn't think of yourself as a developer, think twice, because that is exactly what we are moving towards. So I will spend a couple of minutes to talk about the Microsoft way of approaching AI, and I will limit it down to two topics. The co-pilots and what we call agents. And that is because AI is a very, very broad topic, but we all can relate to having a pretty new relationship with what's called the generative AI that was all born for everyone with the announcement of ChatGPT and the OpenAI. The strategy that Microsoft has is to have a co-pilot, a personal assistant, and I need to point out, if you haven't already noticed, I threw in a bit of nostalgia in my background. This is, Clippy. Microsoft is celebrating 50 years this year, and Clippy was not there from the start. He was born in 95 or even later, maybe. He was called Bob before. And the correlation with the co-pilots and the agents is, this is someone that will help us to do our work better and more proactive. So we're looking at co-pilots and we're looking at agents. Co-pilot being, let's call it an interface where we can ask questions and we can get answers. We can also have proactive responses going into that. But we're also looking at agents that will be part on every process that we do. And the agents, they will be autonomous in many cases. So they will do things on your behalf. This might sound like utopia, but this is already here. So let's have a look at what we have already built Microsoft products. So when we think about people that go to work, we think about how can we help finance, customer service, sales, and marketing. So if you look at the Microsoft services, we have already built in co-pilots and agents in these services to help you to have a chat conversation with your data, get proactive information from your data, and also have the agents that work on your behalf. But from a Microsoft perspective, we cannot think about everything. We can think about the broader picture and have ideas on how we can help. So let's just do a quick look at what we haven't thought of, but we still have an idea on how we can fix it. So let's look at what's not built in and how you can work with it. So there are actually 3 ways of getting to use the generative AI features, so to speak. The first one is what we saw. We're building it and we're stuffing it into our products. And a few days from here, we will all think of this as, it's going to be so common that we don't even think about it as AI features. But if it's not built in, then there are 2 ways of doing this. You can either build this as a developer, hard coding the way that we did it in the past. But on the first line, you can read something called composable Gen AI. And that's where you come in. That's where all of us are going to be able to create AI by using AI. I think this is just amazing. So me having a keyboard with A to Z, I can just tell the AI what I want to develop. Meaning that you can start to create things for your job and your specific purposes that Microsoft cannot think of because we don't know of all your processes. And I'm just adding some ideas here, what it could look like from a branding perspective. And it can be, how can you create some control over the consistency in your branding? Well, you could build an agent or a Copilot for that specific purpose. Or training and onboarding people so they know that they do the right thing, or train vendors to do the right thing. And if you look at Microsoft as an example, our brand guidelines are enormous because we have so many brands and sub-brands. It's really hard to be a Microsoft vendor. Then you can build an agent or a Copilot and just ask it, this is where you go find the answers. Or it could be event planning. It can be a lot of things, but just to get you thinking in a creative manner. This is what we have in front of us. We can buy it. We can build it. All of us that are not IT people can build it, or we can turn to the real IT people and they can build some really awesome stuff as well. And with that, thank you for sharing what you think of how AI will help you in the future. And I will hand it over to Robin.
Thank you, Helena. And Marina, it could be that you want to throw another poll out there as well. And you are muted, Marina, so we can't hear you.
Perfect. I just say you read my mind, Robin. Okay, let's see. So the last question that we have for you today is, what AI tools are you using? Again, no right or wrong. We might find new AI tools that we don't know about. So all eyes on you.
We obviously know already that some of you are using quite many tools, and we have heard something about what you do with those tools. So let's see what the tools are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, people are answering. I'm seeing it on the screen, but I'll give it an extra minute for everyone to type in. Okay. Thank you all. I'm gonna end the poll. And again, I'll read the results out loud. So interesting. ChatGPT, I think, is the winner, but then we get more names in. Hemingway Editor, that's one. Clank, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot is also on the win side. We have a lot of tools from Pierre. Thank you, Pierre. Pierre is using Replicate, 11 Labs, Runway, Adobe Firefly, Open AI Dev, Copilot N8N, Make.com, Zapier, and there is a lot more. So thank you everyone for sharing those.
Really interesting, and that's one of the beauties, I think, with the AI landscape today. You could actually have quite kind of a full-time employment where you just kind of try different AI tools because there are so many coming out. Thank you for sharing. Do you see my screen, first of all? Yes, perfect.
Yes.
So Henrik asked me to be a part of this webinar, and you already shown some of the stuff we do at HiQ with Pickit. Just a short comment, the video you saw was actually part of the implementation of Pickit internally at HiQ, where we really try to make them be enthusiastic and really get to know how to use it, talking about availability and ease of use. So when I thought about what I was going to talk about today, first of all, who am I to talk about these kind of things? I just thought I'd start by giving you some kind of context. First of all, obviously, I'm a customer of Pickit, but hopefully I have some other things to talk about as well. I've been working with marketing, branding, communications for 25 years. And the last couple of years, I've been working quite a lot with AI and how AI can help me and my team and the company to really make as much use of it as possible to improve efficiency and also, of course, make the things we do even better. And to make sense of all of this, I thought I'd just give you very short the context. First of all, obviously, I'm in a B2B company. HiQ is B2B tech consultancy company. We are almost 2,000 people working with tech all day long. And you talked about democratizing the brand, Henrik. And when you are in this kind of business, when you are in a B2B professional services firm, you don't really have a choice because the people are the brand. That's one of the main differences, I think, between B2B and B2C. In B2C, the marketing department have a bit of a more control about the brand building process. In B2B, since the brand is automatically the people, we are in so much of a more enabling position within the marketing department. So that's really an important thing when it comes to how to build the brand, because it's so much about enabling the people to do it right, wanting to do it right. So that's quite an important part of it. Behind all of this, obviously, we have a brand platform. I'm not going to go through it all, but basically it's about us being pioneers who've been around for 30 years. Authenticity has always been a really important part of HiQ brand, that we are brave, being kind of a industry rebel. But of course, it all boils down to us being tech, because that's what we do. Of course, we have a brand platform, Chisel Out. This is just the headings of it. We work a lot with content marketing, creating content, creating lead magnets. And around that, we have a system where we create a lot of other kind of contents, like webinars, insight articles, interviews with all our experts, and so on. Of course, we worked on a lot with different kind of digital channels, SEO, SEM, advertising, etc. Then we have the podcast, Tech Real. Helena, I didn't tell you actually, but earlier today I had a new interview in the podcast with a colleague of yours, Daniel Akinin, the head of technology, national head of technology at Microsoft. So that episode is going live next week. So obviously, content creation is quite an important part in what we do. We have a thought leadership platform where we talk a lot about basically the theme that within a short period of time, all companies will become software companies. And that is something we can create a lot of content around as well. And that has been something we've been working quite a lot with, going out and trying to be a thought leader. in podcasts, media, and so on. And just to give you some examples, I know that the big majority, the vast majority of all you guys are working within marketing, so it can be maybe a bit fun to see what all this boils down to. These are some ads we are right now having in the lockers at all the SATs, the training SATs lockers all over Sweden. We are coming out in the coming weeks with a digital campaign. This is the theme. This is a translated version of it, but I'm going to go out in Swedish in Sweden, of course. So trying to kind of talk about our customers in a bit of a humorous way. So this is what it can and will look like. So now I'm giving you just the context, basically. What am I doing? So this is also what am I using AI for? So you got the chance to answer in the polls a couple of minutes ago the number of AI tools you use and what the tools are and what you use them for. And these are the one I use. All of these are not AI, even though they all the ones to the left, of course, are more within the AI space. The ones to the right have AI obviously built into them. Just a short word. So what I do, and as we've been talking about, Marina, you said it a couple of times already, there is no right or wrong in this. But just to give you one perspective, and then I'm going to do some takeaways that are my learnings when it comes to all of this. Obviously, ChatGPT and Claude are really good for content creation. What I do all the time is that I create a lot of content in ChatGPT and try it out in Claude, and then take that result and try it out on ChatGPT and have quite an iterative process where I basically let ChatGPT and Claude improve on each other's work all the time. And it's quite interesting to see how ChatGPT and Claude are really good in different ways. I noticed that some of you were working with Hemingway. That's a tool I've been curious about as well, just to try to really fine-tuning the tone of voice. But I also really try it out as well with Perplexity as well, trying to avoid the what it's called, hallucination. So I think Perplexity is a really good tool to really try the result and see, using Perplexity to fact check all the content I create. So usually I work with ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity at the same time with different kind of content pieces. Some of you, I heard as well, used AI for transcribe sound to text. I use Notta and Cockatoo. They are quite equivalent, I think, but it's quite a really good way to just repurpose. I mentioned our podcast. It's called podcast. Just taking the transcript of the podcast, or take the sound file and do a transcript and then put it into ChatGPT, make it into an interview, and so on. So Notta and Cockatoo, I think, are really good tools for that. And then, of course, Grammarly and DeepL, just to constantly make sure that we are using the right language as well. Actually, I quite often use ChatGPT, Claude, DeepL, and Grammarly also kind of simultaneously, just to really improve on the tonality and the language all the time. Since of course I like all you guys, I can speak English in a rather good way, but I'm not native. And since our group language at HiQ is English, and we do all of our content in English first, I really need to make sure that the content is made in a good way. Then you have all the tools to the right that are, of course, as you can see in the top of it, it's more about image creations. But then we have Monday.com to do all the planning, HubSpot to get it out, everything we do in email marketing, newsletters, and so on. And of course, Pickit, as you mentioned, Henrik, and so kindly showed what we do. So this is basically the tech stack, and I'm not going to go through Pickit again since you did it, Henrik, but just to finish with some takeaways, how I think about all of this. First of all, I've been with HiQ for 8 months, so I've not been with HiQ for that long a time, but it's pretty obvious for me. I would never had the kind of the time or the right conditions to really do the job the way I've done. Because during this time, we have launched this new brand platform. We have launched a bunch of new ways of working, built a lot of tools, really created an insight hub with a lot of new content, and really started working on the content marketing as a tool. So AI has been instrumental in making this happen, both for me and my team. I forgot to say that, but we have a core team of me and 2 more people, and then we have Marcom leads in the different regions in both Sweden, Finland, and Germany. So it's additionally 9 people, I think, and then we work with a couple of agencies, of course, as well for kind of performance marketing, brand campaigns, etc. But AI has been really, really important. You talked about democratizing the brand, Henrik. I also want to stress that I think that we are right now undergoing a process where we are democratizing the creative process. Everyone in the organization at least think of themselves today as more creative than before, because they are enabled and kind of make better by AI. And that means that we in the marketing department, we are not alone anymore in doing creative stuff. All people are doing creative stuff. And that makes it harder to really be the head of the brand and to really make sure that we are moving in the right direction. I mean, I have my personal theme that is, I need to run fast with my team and I need to do good things because then other people will follow. But I also need to make it easy for them to do the right thing when it comes to creation and living the brand in the right way. That is becoming harder. And then tools like Pickit and other stuff are really becoming more important. As you saw, we use a bunch of tools. I pay for most of them. So of course, it's like you have, Netflix, HBO, Prime, Disney Channel, etc., etc. In the end, it costs a lot of money when you stack it up. But I think it's worth it because you really need to be out there and try all these tools to see what's the best for you. I also think it's quite important to go first. Obviously, I'm the CMO. I could kind of delegate this to people in my team, but I really think I myself need to really be there and do this work to really get my own hands dirty and use all of these tools, because otherwise I have no clue about what we are doing and if we are doing the right things. And things are moving so fast right now, so I need to keep up with the pace. Otherwise, I will be lost. So I think that's really important. Something I do with the team all the time when we have a challenge, we kind of challenge ourselves, and sometimes we laugh about it. But what would AI do? That's so important. Just what would AI do? Because usually we always have some kind of answer. It's not always the right answer or the complete answer, but it just frog leaps ourselves forward in our solution process. Test, do it. Just test. Allow things to be wrong. Allow yourself to really spend a couple of more minutes than you want to, because you really need to try it out and test, because otherwise you won't learn. But also, about hallucination and so on. Be skeptical, question what you do. And most of all, as well, don't forget that you actually are really good at what you do already. You can't really just start using AI and forget about your own abilities. I've seen examples of people that I know are really good copywriters that start using AI, and all of a sudden they are not producing that good content anymore. So you can't just rely on AI and hope that it does the job for you. You can always improve on what AI do. And of course, start running now and really be prepared to run faster, because things are moving exponentially right now. And this is basically the last point as well, because I think exponentiality is quite an interesting concept, and that is something we really are experiencing right now. It's not a linear pace of development, it's an exponentiality we see, and we are just in the beginning here. So you can just imagine if we just are here and then we have this, we will just see things that we can't really imagine in just 1 year. Helena, you talked about agents. When I talked to your colleague, Daniel Akinin, the head of technology at at Microsoft. I asked him about what he thought was kind of the technology shifts to expect during 2025, and he said agents, which means basically that we can get AI to not only create stuff for us, but also actually perform stuff for us in chain of events. So we can kind of delegate entire operations to AI, and that is within a year. So as usual, I probably broken my time limit a lot, but I thought I'll stop there. So who is taking over? Should I stop sharing maybe?
Yeah, you can stop sharing. I think, thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. This was super valuable. A lot of learnings also to you, Helena, and to you, Henrik. So we are coming to the end of the webinar, and now it's the turn for all participants to ask anything they want, and not anything, but any question they have regarding your topics and your content. We are gonna have 10 minutes for this, and I will be reading out loud the questions. So we have the first one. What advice would you give CMOs when integrating AI into their existing marketing workflows? Are there any risks to mitigate?
I can take a first take on that, and then Helena, I guess you have some good input as well. I mean, obviously, you have some things when it comes to information security. So you really need to make sure that you know what you're doing, and hopefully your company has some policies. Policies are never fun, but they are important. Where you might have some kind of information classification that you need to know about and follow. So that's one part. And also, I think you really need to have kind of figured out. I mean, just for an example, what we do when we are dealing with information that could be just a bit sensitive, we tend to kind of anonymize. So we put X and Y instead of like the company names and so on, just to make sure that we are not spreading things that we shouldn't, etc. So that's just one perspective. And then I guess you can elaborate on that.
This is on the note of what we are trying to build in our products, because we know it's going to be useful for everyone. I'm not sure it always is under the subject of AI, but you know, we're trying to add in tools that will prevent accidents from happening. And just to give a good example is you can help your colleagues to not send a credit card number in an email or a social security number or what have you. So we're doing our best on that part to try to build it in so our customers can, you know, just switch it on.
Well, I can add one more thing as well. I touched on it in my takeaways. I think not the most, but one really important thing here is also I talked about trust your own abilities as well. If you start integrating AI in your process and you kind of delegate too much of it and you stop thinking, I think that's probably the most important thing. Don't stop to think yourself, because otherwise you will have colleagues that are kind of putting too much trust into the AI tools. So I think make sure that you have an ongoing discussion about the best practice in how to use AI, so that you don't get kind of really crappy content or crappy results from the AI. You need to really have this as an ongoing learning and ongoing discussion. And the only way you can do that is by sharing experience and sharing your own findings when using AI. We do that a lot in my team, and I noticed that is a really important key to make this good.
I just have a comment that is just related to what you said, Robin, and I think also the way I see it, at least, if you do a bad job with your brand in terms of distinctiveness, being very clear about your uniqueness or whatever it is, and then you add this AI tools on top of that, then you will produce a lot of really bad stuff. So it's not only it's also a big responsibility on the brand managers the people who care about the brand and are supposed to make sure that the brand gives a value back to the company, because that's also very, very important. I think it's more important than ever, because you will be able to produce so much content.
Yeah, and I mean,
Helena,
we should all think of AI as a way to pick up the game, not to lower the bar. You know, that's not why we are heading in this direction.
Raise the bar. Yeah.
That's a really good point, and on that theme as well. And now I'm touching on the next questions as well, because I see them here. I think one question here is about misconceptions when using AI in the brand building, and also another question about how to ensure brand consistency. I think one of the bigger one of the risks with using AI is that we lose the tone of voice for the brand, because if everyone is working with ChatGPT and Claude and whatever to create content, in the end everybody will sound the same, because there is a tone of voice in AI, and that is something that we really need to be observant on, and really be able, back to trusting your own abilities as well, because we don't want to sound the same. So that is one really big thing. And then Henrik, I mean, obviously I'm a customer of Pickit. This is really a challenge that I hope Pickit will pick up on. I mean, based on all kind of content I have in Pickit, I really want to be able to use that content as input to generative AI in order to enable my colleagues to create things with Midjourney or ChatGPT or whatever, and make use of the content in order to kind of already have trained the model, so it can align with what I want the brand to be.
Yeah, of course. And I think, just as a comment to that, 6 months ago, I don't think we talked so much about AI, more than just having AI as an assistant in the system, helping you to sort and index content. Now we see all the content that you have in Pickit is actually a very good prompt to both generate content, but also validate content. So reverse that and see, okay, is this really according to our brand guidelines, or is this aligning with our tonality, or like you mentioned, Helena, is this text okay to send? Is this really okay for us to talk about? Or so yeah, for sure. And we have changed our minds totally about where we are going with AI. It's not that we're rushing into it, but it's definitely there in our roadmap, and we work a lot. Agents is, of course, a thing that we look into as well. So we are not changing the system in terms of what it is, but we are adding AI on top of that and using that to make it easier. For sure.
Happy to hear.
Promise to deliver something to you pretty soon.
Thank you all. Let's answer the last question and then we can wrap it up. I think this is very interesting, as we all want to monitor what's happening with AI. Someone asked, what KPIs should marketing teams track to measure the impact of AI on branding?
I think the jury is still out on that one. I think the pace of change is so high right now. I mean, we talked about lowering the bar and raising the bar. I mean, one obvious KPI is kind of how much we produce for kind of each crown of salary. And obviously we can create a lot more, but then we need to measure the quality of it as well. But I think we will see a lot of changes. Kind of, I have my personal belief that I mean, the marketing departments have been leaning on hiring more and more specialists during the last years. I believe that we're probably going to steer away from that, because I think that AI will probably, this is just a hypothesis, bear with me, I think that AI will kind of replace quite many specialist roles. So I predict that we will have kind of AI generalists, or maybe even AI specialists when it comes to brand. So that, but that is more like qualitative KPIs. So I don't know, what do you say, Helena?
No, I'm, thinking about the core of the question here, is the brand. So I'm not really sure that we want to change the KPIs because, we want to measure how our KPI, how our brand is perceived and how well we are doing as companies. And then we should look at AI as a tool to improve the KPIs we already have, similar to how we measure it today when we work with vendors or our colleagues. So I'm not the expert here, but I'm challenging you. If you want to change your KPIs, that's a different story.
That's a really good point. Really good point. That's two totally different thing. I answered KPI for marketing. You touched on KPI for brands, which is actually the question. So good point.
And I also think that I mean, not now, but in the future, I think you need to be agile with your brand even more. Also be ready to navigate situations or competitions or whatever it might be. And I think that time to change or move is probably a KPI that you need to put in there as well.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for everything, all the content, all the insights, both to the speakers and to the audience for participating as well into the polls. This has been a very interactive session, and we will be sharing the recording as soon as maybe tomorrow, if not Monday. And again, thank you, Henrik. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Robin. And we stay in touch. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.